Today's workshop is going to be about what's new in Smartplans. First, I'm going to go over some of the new features and what occurred when there was recently an update to Smartplans. So the new structure of how they look, how you can edit a smart plan. And then for the second half of the workshop, in case you're new to Smartplans, I'll go over more of the basics. So first I'll go over again the new features, new updates to Smartplans, and then the second half of the call, we'll really get in there and go over the basics. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'm logged into my command account. In case you forgot, you're going to log in at agent.kw.com. That is the URL for command. If you don't have it bookmarked, make sure you bookmark it and save it for easy access. We're going to go straight to the Smartplans applet on the left-hand side. Now, it is the fourth icon down on the left-hand side. We call these icons on the left applets, special KW thing. And if you hover over them, you can see the name of that particular applet. And here's another tip. If you click that red KW in the top left corner, it shows you all of the names. Okay. Now, when you click Smart Plans, you're going to see Smart Plans that you have chosen to utilize. If you don't see any in here yet, that's okay. There is a Smart Plan library. You can click that at the top of your screen and see all the Smart Plans that are available to you. You can also click this Create button and you can create a Smart Plan from scratch. Oops, what did I click? So you can build one, a custom one, however you want by clicking the Create button and starting to add different action steps. I'm going to come in here and edit one that I already have that exists in my Smart Plan library, just to show you guys kind of what's there. So this, I'll just go with this one at the top. The Dudley Group's Guide to Loving Clients. Great. Once you've chosen a smart plan like this from the Smart Plan library to utilize, you can hover over this edit button. Looks like a pencil on the right-hand side under the actions column heading. Click it, and it'll show you all the steps in that smart plan. Now, the recent update to Smart Plans made this user interface look quite different than it did before. If you've been using Smart Plans for a while, this might look a little bit different or new to you. It's now a 3-column setup, as that's how I would describe it at least. It used to be a 2-column setup. So you had a column on the left-hand side and you had a column on the right. Now we have 3. You can see the web page is divided into 3 sections here. As you can see, on the left-hand side, there are options that you can choose from as far as what types of action steps you want to include in your smart plan. It says drag a step onto a day to add it to the plan. Before, it didn't work like this. You actually would click your step and it would add it to the end of the smart plan. And now it's so much easier to use because you can simply take this and drag and drop it into your smart plan to use it. I'm going to move all my Zoom stuff to a different screen. Sorry, guys, it's just kind of blocking the way here. Okay, so I'm going to click cancel here out of that I just added. There are also compliance and best practices for outreach located on this left-hand side. This used to not exist at all, actually. And then you also have tips and rules. We did have a tips and rules section before, but it was located on the right side of the screen. Again, so now it's a drag and drop to get these steps into your smart plan. You'll notice too, before we had the arrows on each action step so you could move it up or down, and then there was a delete button and a save button. Doesn't look like that anymore, right? So there's no delete button, there's no save button either. And there's no arrows. So instead of arrows, you're going to drag and drop. So if you have something that's, let's say on day 2, you want to bring it up to day 1, you can just drag it up there. All right, and then there's no, again, delete or save button. When you are editing a particular step in your smart plan, if you want to delete it, there's a trash button. You click on it to select it, and then you'll see there's an edit button or a trash button in the right-hand side, and it'll show the details of that step on the right-hand side. Just to back it up one step here, I'm going to go ahead and instead of clicking on a particular step, I just clicked on day one and then deselected it. When you first click on a smart plan to edit that smart plan, you'll notice on the right-hand side, it says smart plan details. These are the settings and details of the overall smart plan. So the smart plan name, you can edit that information here. The total duration, which is just calculated based on how many days and your days in between, where it says wait 1 day. Before, we used to have delays in between, and that was a separate action step. There's no longer a separate action step for delays. When you add another day to your smart plan by using these buttons here, you can set up that delay. You click on it and then you can change it. So back to the smart plan details, it also tells you the total number of steps, which is, these are steps. So the total number of action steps in your smart plan and the total number of touches. A create task, it won't count as a touch, and adding to another smart plan won't count as a touch. So touches are, or actually, I'm sorry, create task does count as a touch, but adding to another smart plan does not. So this has a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait a second, I got off count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 steps, 5 touches. I actually don't understand. That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me because it looks like there's 6. So I think this one should be 6. Anyways, you can also utilize this function if it's relevant, where you repeat the smart plan over again. This is usually not something we use, especially when a smart plan contains automated emails or automated texts, because you wouldn't want someone to receive those same texts or same emails over again. But for things like there is a monthly call plan where it's just one phone call reminder, and then there's a delay of, I think it's about 30 days, and then it just repeats. That would make sense, right? It just repeats because it's the same thing over and over, and you want it to continue indefinitely to get that monthly call reminder. So that would be a reason where you would use something like that. Auto add or remove rules. These are brand new, and these are super helpful in making this just extremely automated. So you might have a smart plan that contains a lot of automated emails, a lot of automated text messages. And it would be nice if when somebody replied to one of those texts or emails, if they were then removed from that smart plan so they don't continue to receive text messages or emails which are somewhat natured towards, hey, I haven't heard back from you yet. If you hear back from the person, you don't want them to continue to receive messages like that, right? So if that's kind of the nature of the smart plan you're sending, you're just trying to elicit a response. Well, after you get the response, you want them to be automatically removed from that smart plan. And now you can accomplish that by making sure that you use these. Contact replies to an email from this smart plan. Contact replies to an automated text from this smart plan. Remove contact when one of these is checked off. These are super, super helpful. And I'll give you a concrete example of a smart plan in which you would want to use these. Let's say you ran a Facebook ad and you're using a smart plan to follow up with those Facebook leads. And you're just trying to get a response. And once you get that response, you want to communicate with them one-on-one, or maybe you have them also set up on the neighborhood nurture smart plan, right? So they're getting something, but you want to use these settings on your messaging that's just trying to elicit a response. So the nature of the emails in your smart plan are, hey, I noticed you clicked on a property in my ad. Are you interested in seeing this property or others in the area? If they respond, you don't want them to probably receive your next message in that smart plan that might say something similar, right? So this is super convenient to have. Again, this is located in the overall smart plan details for this particular smart plan. You will have to set these up for any smart plan when you want to use these. If you grab a smart plan from the smart plan library, you still would need to check these off if you want to apply these rules. Okay, so the other thing I skipped over here that I want to explain is this add trigger tags. This setting used to be located at the beginning of your smart plan when you're setting it up, but now it's been moved to the smart plan overall details and rules and settings. What this is going to allow you to do is access all of the tags that you currently have set up, and you can select one or more of your tags as what we call a tag trigger. There are no other triggers, okay? And what a trigger is it would mean when you add a new contact to your database and you have one of these tags that you use as a trigger on that particular contact, then that person would automatically go on to this smart plan. And what that does is it eliminates the manual task of you adding them to your database, adding the tag to them, and also adding them to a smart plan. Also, if you have contacts that already exist in your contacts database, and you then add one of the tags that you have set up as a trigger to that existing contact, then that contact will start to receive this smart plan. It won't be, if you set up a trigger today using, let's say, this tag, anybody who already existed in your database before you set this up as a trigger, they're not going to receive that smart plan. So it's not retroactive at the point where you set it up, but from that point moving forward, any new contact that you add to your database with that tag or existing contact that you then add that tag to, then they'll go on to this smart plan automatically. And a scenario in which this might be useful is, let's say you have a generic open house smart plan that you like to utilize with your prospective buyers. You may want to set up that open house tag that you're using as a trigger to your open house follow-up smart plan. And that way, anytime you add an open house lead to your database, they start to receive that smart plan. So in case you forget when you're exploring this, these instructions are pretty helpful. Okay, so that pretty much sums up how smart plans have changed. There's one more thing actually. When we used to go in here to edit the different steps in a smart plan, it used to be where you click on it and then it expands on your screen in the middle, or it already shows that the body of the email, let's say, or what's the task description. It would show it pretty much on your screen already. Now you have to actually click on it. It shows a summary of the information on the right-hand side. You can see right here, this is a task. Here's the task name. It's a touch task, yes. Okay, so this is why touches. Some tasks might be marked as not a touch. So that's why the summary of this smart plan said it was 5 touches. There's one task that's not a touch, okay? Request buyer's address and send to operations. That's the actual task. Priority level and due date. So this is really different than how it was before. You'll have to click the edit button to then edit the information on the right-hand side. So when I said it's broken up into 3 columns, really this page stays this way when you're in Smartplans. This is just how it looks now, 1, 2, 3 columns. And it's a little bit different because the way we used to have it, I mean, obviously 2 columns as opposed to 3, you have a wider part of your screen where you can edit. There's no way to expand this to make it wider. When you're writing an email up, that could be a little bit challenging to have this small screen. You can drag it down a little bit by clicking this little symbol in the bottom right corner and dragging down. But other than that, you can't really change, you can't really make this wider to see more. And within a particular task, another thing that's a little bit different is there are some date and time preferences that you now can set for not only tasks, but also for sending emails out and text messages out. For a task, you can set the exact time that it's going to be due. And then I'm going to get out of this and show you what it looks like in an email as an example. So in an email, you can select a time of day, a range, early morning, afternoon, evening, and it gives you the hours. We used to just have it so that your text message or your email would just go out like at some point in the day. This is getting a little bit more specific to your preferences, which is very handy if, let's say, maybe you have a text message and an email going out the same day and you want one to go out before the other. If you in the old way we used to do it, they would only go out during business hours. So now you can select evening, which is great. Kind of expanding the offerings here of what these smart plans can do. One other thing that changed a little bit is how you can add the merge tags. It's now actually spelled out like this. It used to be an F between 2 squiggly lines, and obviously most people don't know what that means, right? So now the merge tags have an actual, it explains add merge tag. This is so that you can personalize the contact's first name, or let's say you're creating a smart plan. Let's say you're on a team and you're creating a smart plan for your entire team to use, and you like it to have just these merge tags so it auto populates the correct agent. You can use these for that. And within a task, you can use these to insert the contact's phone number to make it easy to dial them when you're creating a make a call task. Pretty handy. So those are some enhancements here that are really great. I'm pretty sure that the email content tools are the same as they were, except add hyperlink is also no longer a symbol. It used to be a symbol. Now it's not. So if you want to add a link to something, you could add text, click here, highlight it, click add hyperlink, and then you're adding in the URL. Okay, actually it didn't work when I highlighted that. So I guess to use that, you put your cursor in your desired place that you like that link, and then click add hyperlink, enter the text, and then the link. We didn't actually used to have the ability to change the font size before, so that is new. And color. So actually there are a couple new options here that you have. So you can play around with the text a little bit more, do a bulleted list, a numbered list, change your fonts up, and alignment too, which is really, really nice. It's more options with these simple emails is great. You still can't attach a PDF or other attachment to these. So all you can do if you want to send them content is you can link to it. All right. So no attachments and no images. However, let's say you have an email that you've created using HTML in the designs applet in command, you could change this from a simple email to designs, and then enter your subject line, select the design from the designs you've worked on, or let's see. Yeah, it'll only let you, I think, access the ones that you've worked on, but you could select from here. It'll give you your last option to edit. And there you go. This is what it looks like when you're using this function and there is an HTML email. You might grab one from the library and you might get in here and see something like this. Now, if you're using one from the library and you notice it contains an HTML email, you always want to go in and edit that email, which you have the ability to do. Sometimes people publish things to the SmartPlan library while it still contains their contact information. So just be aware, be on the lookout. You want to edit their information out and edit every step. Look at every step in the SmartPlan before you send it to anyone. To be really safe, you could always create a contact with your contact information and test it out on yourself before you send it to any actual people in your database. What do you guys think?
I think it's very cool. The new features are great.
They are so fabulous. I mean, I think that this was almost everything on my personal wish list for this tool. There's just one more thing that I'm waiting on. And I know it's going to happen eventually. And that would be being able to tie a step in a SmartPlan to a specific calendar date. And I know it might be hard at first to think of why we would use that, but holidays, for example, right? And then I could have all the holidays planned out for the entire year. And then whenever I add someone to that SmartPlan, it would be so smart that any holidays that have already passed, they're not going to send anything. It would just start at, the date the person joins that SmartPlan, and they'd receive the next holiday email or text or whatever it is. So I'm waiting on that. It's coming. It's coming. But right now they gave us all of this great functionality. This being drag and drop, guys, if you've ever edited a SmartPlan before, do you know how cumbersome it is when your SmartPlan is already really long, but you want to move something into it? The way that it used to work with the arrows, I mean, it would take forever to just get it. You click the arrow up, like 20 times to get it where you wanted it. And now it being drag and drop, I mean, this saves me at least 5 minutes. Just being able to drag and drop. I know if you haven't used this a lot before, you might not have any idea what I'm talking about, which is okay. But this is so greatly improved from how it was. Yeah, I wish it was something that we could do as a SmartPlan and just refresh automatically, but it doesn't do that. However, there is a SmartPlan. I don't know if you've heard of it, and this one is special. So since we're on SmartPlans, I will talk about and show you guys this. Oh, I guess I need to save and then exit. So there's something called the Neighborhood Nurture. So remember how I said that you're usually not going to use that feature to repeat SmartPlans? Well, this one, it is special. So it will send the neighborhood simple market stats on each neighborhood that you have on any particular contact that is set up on this SmartPlan. Simple market stats on all those neighborhoods plus on market listings. And then this one, the bi-weekly, it has a delay of 14 days and then it repeats. This email is not the same every time. It pulls the data from our listing feed in real time automatically. You can't edit this email. So this is a very special smart plan. It is published by KW. You can't edit this. It pulls your contact information from your marketing profile in order to populate your headshot, your email in the signature, your stuff in the signature. And then it knows what information to send to a contact that you've added to it based on what neighborhoods are on that contact record in your database. Does that make sense to everyone? I'll show you guys an example of it. So this is what it looks like that I'm receiving from Rick Cunningham. And then here is one of the neighborhoods on my contact record. Here it shows some simple stats on this neighborhood and links to the properties that are for sale. I can also click to see more listings in this neighborhood. And then here's the next neighborhood. These emails can only be so long. If you have many neighborhoods on a particular contact, they will have to click view entire message to see all of their neighborhoods. And then your info will also be at the bottom and the top. So it's fairly simple to set this up. And if you're using the bi-weekly version or the monthly, so there's a bi-weekly one and there's a monthly one. Bi-weekly neighborhood nurture, monthly neighborhood nurture. If you don't have these yet, you can go to the library. They're in the second row, Keller Williams, and you can add them. The monthly one is over here. Add smart plan, and then you'll click download. It's grayed out for me because I already have these. And to set these up in the, when you're setting it up, it is a little bit of work. You've got to go to the contact record, pull them up, and then you've got to add the neighborhoods. If you have a physical address for this person, then the system will probably already have a primary neighborhood listed. It'll automatically pull that if you have an address. You can also, in addition to that, add neighborhoods manually. I recommend using this find on map feature. You can type in a starting location by street name. Let's see, I'm on. And as you zoom in, you'll start to see the neighborhoods appear. These neighborhoods are based on what's in nextdoor.com. All right, so nextdoor.com is different from what our MLSs consider neighborhoods or districts, subdistricts, in most cases at least. So in order to select neighborhoods here, you can simply click and select. All right, so there's the neighborhoods that I have saved. It's also going to suggest additional ones. And how do you know what neighborhoods to pick, right? Well, for a lot of contacts in your database, you might generally know where they live and you might be able to select a handful. Or if you have that primary neighborhood for them, there will be some suggested neighborhoods that you can then add. If you meet contacts out in the field at an open house or elsewhere and you kind of get a sense for where they live or where they want to live, you can add those neighborhoods, right? If you have an open house, you meet someone there, they're at least looking in that neighborhood. So you could select that neighborhood you met them in and the neighborhoods around it. And think of this as a touch. This isn't a listing alert. It sends market stats, which is something of value. And of course, on market properties, even if someone is not looking to transact right now or to buy or sell, everybody wants to know what's for sale in their neighborhood, right? Who doesn't? Who doesn't? Especially past clients, right? People that have bought with you, they want to know what's happening with sales prices in their area or on market prices in their area. I certainly do, right? Maybe someone is thinking of buying and they're just looking for the right home. And this is kind of a constant drip. It's not based on any search criteria. So you can't put minimum beds, bathrooms, not that same thing. It's just going to send general all the listings.